All right, welcome back. Special edition of Everyone Needs an Aquarius. Look, we have been talking about it. We supposed to do this last year. Last season of this show, but we didn't get a chance to. It was just we just didn't. But we back with the season 2 discussion of Reasonable Doubts bonus episode content for y'all. All right, Dom. Let's start your general thoughts on this season and whatnot, and then we'll dive into like the particulars real quick.
I thoroughly enjoyed this season. There were some things that were just a little irky, but
Like
overall,
what? Lay out the general stuff.
okay. So there's so many themes here. You have the relationship between Jackson and her husband. You have the sibling rivalry that's happening with their children. We also have Chanel on trial for murder. And then you have new characters that are coming to play, like Morris Chestnut, and toward the end, Essence Atkins and all this. So it's like a couple of things that are happening here, and I would say, and then we also have that theme of what I mean. Would it even be a theme? It would be that storyline of what has happened with Jax last season, being kidnapped from Michael Ealy's character, which I'm starting to think he might be crazy in real life because he's just been playing a lot of crazy roles lately. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Back to this point. And then you have Jax and therapy. That also is another situation that's here. And we have guest roles, star roles, like you have Candy coming in, we have JT's mom, that's in this show, and so many different things. And so I would say the main thing is I feel, forgetting the husband and the baby. I think that part of it makes it a great show, but part of it kind of makes it like, okay, what's the point of this? So you know how kind of what we talked about with Insecure, where they would have these different characters and things happening, but then they never fully explore it. I don't like when shows do that just solely because like it leaves us kind of hanging, because it's like, okay, so what was the reason or what was the point behind that? And then, but at least here, you kind of see things kind of somewhat come together, except for in the space of when it comes to the sibling rivalry and the sister being jealous of the brother. And it's just like, oh, the dad is like
manufactured, don't it, a little bit?
It felt manufactured, but then that also takes me back to their marriage. I believe that this is now becoming a forced marriage, and I don't like that. I am not rooting for Jax and what's her husband's name?
Jax and I hold up. I have the list here, people. Hold on. Get back to my other window. Jackson's husband is named Lewis.
Yes, Lewis. I'm not rooting for them because sometimes, first of all, I don't. He has a good job. Why does he always look so homely? What is going on with his hair? What is going on with his hand? Why do you still have that on your hand? And then in the flashbacks, like it's not, and I get it, it's a flashback, it's not there, but I'm still trying to fully understand, like, why the entire season your hand is wrapped. Let it go. Then his out, like they just make him look really homely and weak. And that really bothers me because I feel like his character could be a stronger character, but they trying to make him out to be this loser. And then you insert the almost, interaction between her and Morris Chestnut, where you have Morris Chestnut, I get it, they're in court, but it's just how how they have him dressing. Of course, there's that extra layer of confidence that's there, but I don't know. It just seems like it is forced because, and marriages go through things. I understand that. I recognize that. But this, it's just a little. That is one of my pet peeves this season. I'm not rooting for y'all. So
yeah, it's just that their relationship is weird, and maybe that's the whole point of their relationship. That it is not smooth. But it just feels mad uncomfortable though. It felt like they two homies for real, to be honest with you.
and I'm in this
There's
group,
nothing wrong with that either. Now, don't get
and
it
that's
twisted.
cool. Like sometimes that happens. People, you fall in love, you grow apart, things change, and I put in this group that I'm in, like it was a group on Facebook for Lovecraft, and it just turned into other stuff. And I was saying that I think I'm frustrated because as Black people, and maybe even sometimes in general, just as people, we're really conditioned to think that in order to have any sort of love or experience love, that it has to come at this chaotic, crazy struggle. Like there has to be drama involved. And I'm not, again, not saying that marriage, relationship, love, and stuff is perfect, but a lot of the bullshit that we be putting up with, we shouldn't have to. And it's like, I can move on and start over. And then I think some people, that fear of starting over, because it's like, what if it doesn't work out? It's all these other scenarios. But I'm like, girl, leave Lewis where he at. Lewis, leave Jax where she's at, and let's move on. Because as y'all are doing a lot of damage. Like I'm gonna be honest. The moment that nigga told me that girl's my baby once, and you wasn't even honest with, you was trying. I'm cool. And I didn't want her to necessarily go and hop on Morris Chestnut either, because I'm like, nah, like
that ain't the move either, because that's not stable.
He got his own other things, but I'm like, I don't understand why just people just can't. And y'all kids too big to be like, oh, well, we got to do it for the kids. No, they're in high school, they're fine.
Let them be.
Yeah, let them be. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And then think about.
Go ahead.
And then think about, okay, them kids already tussling with each other. Now you got this baby there, that and then that girl would have been the middle child, baby.
What do you mean the girl would have been the middle child? What do you mean?
Yeah, so just think about it. Technically,
she would have been the middle child. I got you. Right.
Middle child. So middle child syndrome is a whole nother thing. So I'm just like, girl.
She already was acting like she didn't have enough attention, and a new baby takes a lot of attention away in general for anybody. So daddy would have been all up over there with that.
Yeah.
But I told you my theory. I thought the best way to make it real spicy was for the mother to die and them have to take that baby and adopt it and bring it up in the crib. That would have made everything super complicated.
Well, guys, you're here. Welcome to our season 2 review. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of everything. So we want to start there?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Go ahead.
I predicted that the baby is going to die or she was going to die. One of them was going to die. I didn't know how it was going to go, but I didn't think that she was going to end up suing at the end. I thought that was going to be like a lingering plot point going forward, that he had another side baby and that the kids find out in some way. Like maybe from the other kid at the school that goes to school with the daughter, where it's like, I mean, your daddy was having a baby with my daddy. Like, what? I thought that could have been a whole different thing and make the little girl even more mad at her. And especially if the boy was like, man, I don't even care, dude. Like, so y'all wanted to kick it, like, and it would split them apart. Like, it would make her more of this I'm on rogue type thing. And then I'll tell my nefarious plot for season 3 that I had, but we can continue right here after that. I mean, go ahead with your thoughts.
That's fair. I think that whole arc of Lewis, the baby, is it JT's or whatever, it was just so interesting. Just because, when we talked about it, I was saying like, damn, like homegirl was supposed to be cool with Chanel, and you coming behind me and you fucking on my husband. Let's just call it what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I told you, I said, she wasn't trying to have Lewis involved or even mention anything to Lewis because she was banking on that payday that would have came.
I didn't even think about that when you said that.
She was banking on the payday. Now Lewis has a nice job behind JT money, so it hit different. And
I mean, JT money is like we said, JT money. Lewis ain't broke and he doing well.
Yeah,
but it ain't that JT money because what old girl had was 31 million just sitting there or something, right?
Well, you remember, they transferred that 30 million to
right. So think about how much other money he had just in random other places,
Yeah.
To pay shots. So, like you said, it's a big difference.
It's a big difference. And so because like I said, I was like, I knew out the gate when it even came about, I was like, man, I already know. But then when it came out that she was messing with JT too, I was like, okay. Like, this speaks to the thing that we talk about with people, how women can also be predatory, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, dang, like that's just so messed up. Like that's like Chanel supposed to be somewhat of your homegirl, and you up in her house, with her dude or whatever. Not sure if y'all had like a threesome or something, but hey, that's a different life over there. But ultimately, it's just like really just. So we have that element of the story that's happening, but I felt like when just from the lies to deceit, and I know and I get it that I understand Lewis, trying to wait for all the information to come back before he says something to Jax. I get it, but ultimately, I felt like Jax was not being honest with herself.
Okay. What do you mean?
Yeah, when they were in therapy and all these things, her trying to stick it out and show up for Lewis, and I think she's looking up at it from that perspective of, okay, Lewis got me out of this bad situation. At the end of the last episode last season where. This person, my client, I had this relationship with my client and it kind of went too far or whatever. So I don't know if she felt indebted to Lewis for that. But because I think Jax really wanted to walk away from Lewis when she found out about that baby. Or at least take a moment to try to figure it out and take a beat.
Because Lewis was listening, like you said, Lewis was throwing all kind of salt in that game because he was being an affectionate guy. She wanted him to be on some like, okay, well you handle it. Cool. I'm gonna say this is JT's until further notice.
Yeah, and so I think that's what it was, and I get it because when they argued about it, and he brought up the whole thing with Michael Ealy's character. I was like, that's so petty because y'all also were on a break. Y'all were separated. So what are you even talking about? It wasn't like I had this affair. I did this or that. But also it reminds me of something you said regarding their marriage dynamic as a whole. It is not conventional because even last season, there are cameras in the house and you tuning in and watching on the camera while she having relations with somebody else was just weird. But then this season we saw that they went to some club or whatever, some sex club for JT's birthday. And then you see that dynamic happening there where it's like, okay, are y'all open? Are y'all, poly? What's really going on? And so I feel like that also hasn't fully been explained either to us. Or it's like, again, now we're left to formulate our own thoughts. But I thought it was just really, really strange that he would bring that up, that, something that was so traumatic, as if y'all wasn't on a break. Like in the words of the great Ross, we were on a break. Yes, I watched it. But I also watched Living Single. They were on a break. So I was like, dude, like that don't count. Like, so even Jack's being mad, like it's frustration, but we were on a break, but also I'm like, damn, you just out here hitting people wrong, and then where you met her. But then
that was the slip up. That's where he slipped up at.
Yeah, I'm like, where you met her. And y'all don't be checking the whole facts, but like I told you, I know men really don't care about, we hit the same person unless somebody really cares.
I don't think he knew that JT messed with her though. That's what we disagreed at. I don't think she knew. I don't think he knew because he just met her at the park.
And I feel like,
I don't think he knew. I think that he's met at this party. No. She was at the party, and I knew you from the school, and we just chopping it up. Yeah. I didn't even know what was what. And that's one of the things we don't do. We don't necessarily run no Carfax like that. You know what I'm saying? Like just if we just get to know somebody, like unless it's something like, hey, like missing like not nefarious, but like super obvious, like, hey, did you used to mess with you? Like then, but if he didn't get no inclination that they used to kick it, then he wouldn't have asked. Because he didn't even know until the court case thing came up, was like, yeah, JT was messing with her. When I was, remember, he was like, clutching his pearls.
But also, I get him trying to cover his tracks. But that's what I mean. They don't need to be with each other because they don't know how to be honest with each other.
Back to your original premise.
She asked him, hey, is it somebody that we know? You said no. So I just feel like y'all don't know how to communicate. Y'all keep talking about these layers of communication that don't exist really in your household. So I don't know what was the premise and the foundation of everything, which again, them little white lies, they always say that them little white lies always catch up, and he got caught up. That is why they don't need to be together. I am not rooting for them. I'm sorry. I'm so over it.
I know. I get you. All right. What did you think about the Chanel case and all that went on with the main, which was the main plot line of all this? What'd you think about it? It was her not being the murderer and all that stuff.
Yeah, I knew out the gate, like I knew Chanel didn't do it. I think I was just more so.
Oh, pause real quick though. Hold on. So they might have wrote this into the plot, the plot of the show, because the real woman was actually pregnant. That played the baby mom. She was pregnant in real life.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
But I'm saying I wonder if they wrote that in that little part in there because she was pregnant.
They could have, or it should have been coincidental.
It could have been coincidental.
It also added just like other layers, because like then you had the thing where when they subpoenaed her to court. So right. I mean, it made sense, but maybe not. But either way, because it kind of flows.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but keep going.
So now you got a plot for season 3.
Right.
Should get another season, which will be interesting. Regarding that, and we will get to that at the end, what our theories could be. But ultimately, we learned that Chanel has been in this very pretty much abusive relationship, and we kind of saw like a little bit of it last season. She talks about it a little bit, about the infidelities or whatever, and the chaos that's happening in her relationship. But ultimately, I wasn't 100% sure about how it was going to play out, just because historically, if we were going to follow things that kind of happen historically, especially for, Black women and people of color, a lot of times, regardless of the evidence that's there, people still hate women and they end up in jail. And so I didn't know if it was going to be something like that, especially considering what Morris Chestnut's character kind of went through previously with a previous case. So I was like, I was kind of on the fence. And then you got this new, woman DA. And then, and when there's a new DA in town, they got to prove themselves worthy. And so they're trying to get every conviction, regardless of what that evidence looked like. They're going to, fight tooth and nail to get that W. And it was crazy to see how the DA was responding to it, just knowing her history, being a victim of a survivor of domestic violence. So that was like, I think that was the most chaotic part for me, maybe how the DA was going to play into this. And then, like Chanel, I also have a question regarding that guy that Chanel was dating that was JT's roommate. I mean, not roommate, teammate. Because we know that he was caught up in a gambling, like some shenanigans and kind of, owe all this money, like that $30 million that he was hoping to get his hands on. So I was really confused if he genuinely cared about Chanel or if he was just looking for a quick payday. And they never fully explained that.
They did not. You can't tell for real. Like and I don't know. We gotta find out if it's good writing or not.
Yeah. Because that was one of the other things, and that could be another arc for next season. Maybe he pops back up, but they never fully explain what happens to that white guy that had them all caught up in that stuff. It just kind of comes out, in court. And like he said, like he's granted a level of immunity, like, or protection because, he was like, that guy will kill me, like they managers. So I don't know. I think Chanel as a whole, like, it was just interesting because, like, I don't know. Part of it, the case was great, but I was still more intrigued by the side stories. The other mess, like, I think that, like even the relationship with Jax's mom, which is played by the great Pauletta Washington, and like, are you ever really fully tell your mom the truth about your
That's
stepdad?
another open plot line, yeah, for next season. Or and potentially then, down the road whenever they want to do it.
Yeah, and then I don't know, like, because I knew out the gate she didn't do it. I think I was more intrigued if the little boyfriend really, really fuck with her or not. Because
it leads you to assume that he really did, though.
I don't know. He gave me like this knockoff wannabe Odell Beckham Meeks.
No, you know who he's a knockoff. He was a knockoff of Shawn Wayans from the 90s when Shawn Wayans looked like that in the 90s.
No. I'll tell you why. It was.
He looked like Shawn Wayans to me.
No, I didn't mean it.
Yes, he did. Look at the picture of him. He looks like Shawn Wayans.
I was saying it like it was like Odell Beckham meets Jason Derulo because there was just something corny about him. I don't think Odell Beckham is corny, by the way.
But you think Jason Derulo is?
I definitely think Jason Derulo is. I was like, you're a nice looking guy to be acting this corny. Like, I think he's a nice looking guy, but he's just corny. Some niggas just be corny. So,
and he put a whole soccer player in depression too. That's a whole nother story. One of a soccer player on my team. Yeah, he stole this other soccer player's girlfriend in the middle of him like having to adopt his brothers and sisters because his parents died, and he had adopted in the middle of all that. His girlfriend was cheating with Jason Derulo. It's a English soccer player named Jesse Lingard. You want to look up the story? Just put Jesse Lingard and Jason Derulo in the Googles. It's a long drawn out thing though, but and it's not his fault. It's the chick's fault too. But it's like, dang man, like you messing with this dude's girl and he going through all this stuff. That's Jesse Lingard.
Oh, Jesse.
Jesse.
see it.
And put Jason. Yeah, go on. You can deep dive into that one. That's a free one for you.
So wait,
that's because I'm a, you know, that's what he played my favorite soccer team too.
Soccer player. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
hey, we not. This is just. But let's get back to the show. Go. So homeboy.
Situation.
Shout out to him. His real name is Von Hebron. Is his real name?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I because to me that was okay. Yes, on top of
he was on the game too. He was on the game too, I guess.
That must be that new season that I ain't watch.
2021. So yeah,
I ain't watch after that. I just like, I don't know. Like it's weird. I can't even explain it to you. Like I was here for it, but like I said, I was here for the developments. Like the developments and all of that were definitely like mad intriguing. You know, us seeing Candy, us learning about his history of abuse and all that stuff. And even it's another thing that I really like that we got to talk about is how his mother was acting and how women, you know, often allow their sons to be these toxic ass monsters because they're benefited from something, or like, that's my baby, or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know, your son is a monster, and you find out that she also allegedly like beat him too.
That's another thing we got to be able to get into.
Go ahead, get into it.
No, I'm saying we need to get into that. Like, no, I'm talking about like they need to dive into it. They kind of left that kind of loose there to me.
You know, okay, I'm gonna say this. For some reason, I felt like for some reason, I almost kind of felt like the mom was gonna be like more malicious than she was. Like I don't know why I thought that like it was like maybe she was gonna tell JT.
It's gonna be way more diabolical.
Yeah.
That's because you've been watching her other shows. Shout out to that woman, man. She's a good actress. She's a good villain in TV shows. Saints and Sinners is the main one I remember from.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I just knew. I was like, oh, the mama gonna have something to do with this. And then you find out what she did to the first baby mama and how they messed her up, where she was unfit to take, you know, like how he took that baby. So that's why I was like, I was like, oh, she's gonna be even more involved, and it's gonna be her fault. Like I just knew it. So I don't know, like
you just knew it was gonna be another right way.
I just knew. I was just confident. The only thing that I was confident about was JT, like Chanel not killing JT. But then, you know, like I was kind of looking at everybody who else could have came in. Because, I mean, at one point, I thought it could have potentially been the boyfriend, and she was taking the fall for the boyfriend. Then, you know, because of like what their relationship was, then I thought it could have potentially been the cousin. Because of how like the cousin was acting and wanting to put the house up and doing all of this stuff to try to keep her out of jail and all these different things. So yeah, man, what are your thoughts? Daryl. Oh, you are there. It's like froze.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was thinking. I'm sorry. I was.
It was like it just.
I was too still thinking.
I was like, oh God, here we go.
No. All right, so all right. I think when I think about everything with this whole series is especially with the mom, the trial, all that. Where is the white boy at?
See,
where is he at?
See, I'm telling you, I was so pressed about that because that
and I don't know. Maybe, hopefully they come back around it because I'm just like something. What if he's worth all this money? He ain't letting all this shit that's to happen ride. If he's supposed to be this big player like this,
right? And that's what I was saying.
I didn't even know what a white boy had.
That's what I was saying. I was like, it doesn't make sense that this look like we just not gonna revisit this. And I was like, I did not like that because that would have been a really, really good storyline and how y'all was, especially if it came out like they really, because he never really told Chanel what she signed, right? Like he went to visit her, but it wasn't like he said, I have something to tell you. I don't recall that happening. And so it was still like, and even him still, once she got out, you trying to propose to me and have me marry you. Like there's something that still is left unsaid. But you bet he come up dead next season.
No, he first episode dead. I'm already predicting it. I don't want you to lose no money on your job. I hope they bring you back for some flashbacks like they did Michael Ealy, so you can pick him up a little SAG check. But he's done for, like, he's dead. Now we can get into season 3 a little bit. Our predictions. My nefarious prediction I had earlier was I think that they was gonna put the daughter into a grooming situation since she feels like she's not getting no attention. Now I'm not necessarily saying sex trafficking. I'm saying grooming, where like someone older is kind of like, or even a little boy that's maybe in high school that's kind of like she's giving her attention to because he is, giving her all this attention because she feels like she's not getting it at home. I just don't know if that's an angle they would want to go into with that. And I don't know how that would jump off in there. Maybe she gets kidnapped or runs away, and then that's the part of the plot line with that. So maybe the juxtaposition for Jax and Lewis is that they lost the kid and then they lost another kid in a way. Not necessarily, what I'm saying? They lost 2 kids. How did they, feel that dynamic? Just a thought. I mean, I don't really want them to have to do that, but it'd be cool and interesting to take that route.
Ultimately, I think too, even with I wonder if we'll see. It's so much that happens even just in like throughout the series, and that's what I'm saying. Like, because like we still haven't even touched on like Morris Chestnut. In the previous case with him dealing with like a domestic violence victim, and like how he needs this win because he want to be able to fight to get his former client out, and we see her fire him. She like you like you up here on that bullshit, and I'm still in this motherfucker. And you said you was gonna get me out, and so I think it's just like it's so many things that happen. Where, like I said, there are key parts like that or key elements there that maybe necessarily didn't need to exist. Like, and I know, I'm pretty sure Morris Chestnut's character could come back. And maybe, I have a prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Jax start their own firm. Because of how, because you see him packing his stuff out of their office, but you saw how the partners.
I thought he's moving back to New York.
I don't know. I don't think that because I
think the whole reason he moved out there was because he wanted to get that girl out, and he was gonna go back to New York after he got her out.
Well, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that he's gonna end up maybe potentially him and Jax opening their own firm, and because don't forget that her clerk is going to
it's going to go to law school, so now you can have her be your law
so maybe she can intern and do all these different things that'll help them, and then bring the Asian guy in like her investigator. I think that could be a potential part, and then because he's clearly there's something that's going to develop between him and Essence Atkins, and I don't see you just signing, just going to introduce that and it not be nothing. And then with the case that's going to happen with them being served with those papers about the girl losing her baby, then Morris got to kind of represent her and Lewis. That's just an idea that I was thinking about potentially. And then even in that, because we know that her and Jax have an interaction, and that's really what it's gonna be. Because and watch, as much as Lewis didn't want that baby, him finding out that, oh, like her and Jax had like shared some words or whatever, and blah 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 blah, then he gonna have some sort of resentment to her, because it's like, I feel like, though his baby was born, it seemed like he was kind of like, this is my reality. I have a new kid, and I'm accepting that it is what it is, and it's just gonna shake shit up.
Yeah, which makes sense. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with this next season. Overall, it was actually pretty. It was interesting. Very kept you on your feet. Just overall scale to 1 to 10, what would you give this season compared to? I mean, what would you give last season first? Then you give your number for this season.
So we're not done.
Okay.
Because we still have to talk about the verdict and what.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. My bad.
So, as I mentioned earlier, you have the DA. You relearn about her history of abuse with her ex-husband, who has now resurfaced and has been like kind of stalking her, harassing her, and he took her to court, to get joint custody of their son, and which clearly it was granted in some sort of way, but she wants him to be like gone, like, you a terrible ass person, blah 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 blah. And ultimately gets him caught up, and he tries to attack her again. And luckily, the cops and stuff walk in and see that, and so ultimately they find her, Chanel, not guilty of premeditated murder, murder in the first degree. But they pretty much kind of give her like a manslaughter charge, where she would have had to do like 8 years. So they so then that's when Jax really goes hard on the DA, and it's telling the DA like, this is what really happened. So this is where they fully say, hey, we got the proof that Chanel didn't do this. And then we find out that it was JT's oldest daughter that he had with Candy, that just so happened to come home from college that day, and killed him when he was attacking her. So they're telling the DA this, and Jax goes in and is just like, I know about you pretty much. Pull that bitch card. I was like, get her, pull the card. And so we find out. So ultimately, when it comes to sentencing, when they have the sentencing, they pretty much, the judge, is making this decision. They go up, they try to tell her, the judge, to be, grant her leniency. This is what it was. And you have the DA, still doing her DA job. And then, they was like, we want her punished to the fullest extent or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And the judge is like, we're going to look at this as like it's time served, and you can go home. Which lets you know that the DA did step in and have a conversation with the judge, explaining everything as a whole. And then, Chanel gets off, and, and that's pretty much that season. And so I would say this. I really like the DA's acting too. She was just the right amount of bitch. As we like to say.
She tried. I think they was trying to give that Marsha Clark feel from the old Dick.
Yeah, and so very not, she was not likable, and then you would see her in stages where it's like, you are human. So where you kind of feel for her a little bit. So she played that role really, really well. So yeah, I'm excited to see, what happens next season. Because in some
what do you think about
wait, I got another interesting part.
Here we go.
What you bet somehow they're gonna have to bring that DA in to testify in court. If that goes all the way to court, they don't settle for that case with the baby mama.
Ooh.
Because it's like this person has a history, and then they're gonna have to prove that as a whole, they're gonna have to look at her, like her interactions with how she was sleeping with men, all these different things. Like, because they're gonna have to say who the first baby daddy is, and they're gonna, oh, she was on the stand in hopes that this was, JT's. It's like she's just looking for this payday.
Oh, it's definitely payday now. She seemed way more wholesome, a little bit more, or maybe that's what she's trying to dumb it down for. It just felt like that. Well, at least the first season, she felt like she was on. She was on one. She was, ready to kick it with your boy. But this season, I guess, and obviously she's pregnant, so she ain't gonna be, trotting around town in no heels or nothing.
And ultimately, so y'all, clearly, because we didn't make this clear how they lose the baby. She goes into labor early, like at 29 or 30 weeks, and ultimately the baby passes away. Jax does go and visit and just tells her, tells the woman prior to the baby passing, like, I'm here to support you. I know we don't always see eye to eye, but I'm gonna show up for you, like we're family, blah 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 blah. So I felt like Lewis went wrong when he went by her house, with the flowers and stuff. And, we learned that she's planning a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think, and I know that he was like, I can't see my baby in this box, blah, 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 blah. If that's something you want to do, then you have to do that for you. And, for her to, it snaps her back into reality. And then she's like, I told you I didn't need you. I really felt like Lewis just should have played the game, because she wanted to use that picture of Lewis on the obituary. So I bet what you bet, because he probably was like, we ain't told our kids about this. And now that this happened, we probably really was not ever going to mention this, because like you said, them kids go to school together. We don't know what their friendship dynamic is. They never really say. So what if the daughter or something went to that funeral and then saw her daddy on that obituary? So I don't know. For me, I just was like, you could have just played the game and just let the girl just put that picture on the obituary and kept
it. But I mean, you just was pushing it off. I mean, yeah.
So
yeah, I'm with you. He could have did that. He could have played it off. Man, but she was just so over the top with everything. Like, she had everything planned for that baby before he got there. Everything post baby passing, everything was set up for him. He had basically her idea is, if you're not down with what I'm talking about, then fuck off and go do your thing. Instead of, like, she wasn't collaborative. It was like, either you do want to do everything I want to do, or fuck, get out of here. You're a horrible dad.
I think she already had her mindset
on JT.
On it being JT's. And then when he, like, he talked to her and convinced her to do, that's gonna be the other key thing, that very invasive, DNA test. She could probably say, oh, it was all of these things that went into play that caused me, to go into labor early and lose my baby. That's all I'm thinking about. And so
we'll miss my payment.
Yeah. But see, even still, for they still would have had to do a DNA test even with JT dead. Like, they would have just had to do.
But I'm saying, but would they just assumed? I'm just wondering if she'd able to get away with it.
Or she was banking on Chanel being not that bright and not,
or caught up in everything, maybe too.
Caught up in not being. She probably, whatever it was, once that was like the end result, she probably was like, well, shit, they ain't gonna subpoena me to court. Nobody know. and how it, and so once they started, cross-referencing stuff and seeing that's how they she what that girl probably had no idea that she would even be understood. She probably was expecting to just off GP get whatever little money, but even she couldn't even petition. If she would even tried to petition, they would have still had to get one of his kids to come in to do that DNA test.
Yeah, and then because he's not allowed to do it, so you'd have to.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
she had
she was mad at the world. She was mad at life.
Yeah. So she just honestly, and I'm not gonna say Lewis was wrong, but Lewis did right by trying to find out. It was just how he went.
He did the right thing.
And so, it's unfortunate what happened, but like I said, homegirl just looking for a payday and was like, well, shit, I ain't gonna get this JT money. Jack's got money, but it ain't JT money. They got money, but
didn't Lewis just do a new video game that's coming out? He got a little bread too. Let me go and get up in them coins.
Yeah, man. But I hope this gets picked up for another season.
Yeah, I don't see how it's not. It's been a phenomenon, man. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
With what's been happening with Black media again, it's scary to see how we have, it seems like shows are getting canceled left and right. And I want to say this, that people have to understand the difference between a show being like a regular show or something that's a limited series. So like people were in an uproar about Black Cake not getting another season. I'm like, bitch, it's a book. What else are they going to talk about? What else are they going to create? Unless they collaborated, I think that would be something that where you could have potentially collaborated, and maybe they were in talks of doing a season 2 potentially, and could create something which is possible. But I was cool with how it ended. Lovecraft technically was a limited series. It
was based off a book too.
Yeah. And so they negotiated potentially getting another season, because that would have been something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So I want people to understand that, like Big Little Lies, though that is not a Black show. It's a good show, y'all. Y'all want to watch a good show. It was only supposed to be one season, but then it was all of that stuff, and they looked at those writings and they picked it up again. But also, it probably doesn't. You have to look at budget. Big Little Lies don't cost as much as a Lovecraft to make.
No, nowhere close to it.
And so they're looking for ways to cut budget. So I don't know. TV is about to be really interesting. I hope this does get picked up for another season. Unprisoned got canceled. Won't be coming back for a third season. I haven't watched the second season of Imprisoned.
It was decent. It was okay.
Yeah. So I hope that we get another season or two. I wish that it was something where it got, they can green like 2 seasons at a time. Like we get guaranteed to get 2 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. But I definitely want to see where it goes. I'm gonna give this season at 8.5.
Okay. What was last season to you? What was your number for last season?
Definitely a 7, maybe a 7.5.
So this season's better.
Yeah, I think this season is a little better. But I will say that last season didn't have as many themes. I feel like you just had a couple, and so it was just like, okay, it was a drama with their marriage. You had the guy getting out of jail, and then whatever case she was working on with the dude from Say the Last Dance. And we got to learn, like about her personal life, which could potentially build, like to other things like we talked about. But it was just enough. It didn't feel overwhelming how certain parts kind of, but I did enjoy this season. But I want to know what the fuck happened to the gambling dude, the gamble shark.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a solid 8 for this season. Last season was cool. It was intriguing enough to make me want to get a season 2. This one really makes you feel like, okay, they got something going on with this drama series.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
Like they really have something that can be. They're going to introduce some new characters. I feel like.
I feel like don't do it. Like if y'all gonna do that, I was like,
but that's tying to former characters, not like brand. I'm talking about they're tying into other characters that are around. Is what I'm saying.
I would say just like let us learn more about the loan shark or again whatever the manager and the those dealings, and then that just the baby mama drama in the suit. But like I said, I think potentially I think Jack's gonna leave. Because that's gonna be the other thing too. Because she like them starting their own firm. Think about now you self-employed, so that money gonna hit different.
Yeah.
Because like them first years, like those first years be a little
be lean because you got and some of them clients can't leave and go with either another place necessarily yet because of
it's
conflict of interest.
Yeah. So we'll see. Cause like it was just weird how how they would the other like her bosses and stuff was like, oh, are you keeping her in check? And some gonna come out somehow. He gonna say that Morris Chestnut. I can see his character potentially telling her that, and he was like, they don't value you. He gonna be able to sell her on maybe starting her own firm, or maybe not this season after. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You wouldn't know how they're gonna put her on suspension, and because of the lawsuit with old girl, and that's what's gonna give her to start the other firm.
Yep.
They gonna put her on suspension and be like, dude, all this stuff I did, y'all gonna suspend me because of this random lawsuit?
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what's gonna get her to start. Yep. And he's gonna because he already gave her game about how they was already coming to him at the beginning of the season. He told her that, didn't he?
He didn't tell her, but he just he insinuated.
So he ain't really even told her like the whole demo.
Yeah,
they came to her
flat out. He didn't tell her flat out.
Whatever you need, we got you. If you need us what you need us to do to her. Mm-hmm. There you know what? She is gonna leave and start another firm. You are correct. Yeah, I just thought about this putting this together now. Look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, please let me be right. But yeah, I enjoyed it. We have to figure out a way to and maybe it's something we could do. I was about to say over the summer, but the summer's over. I was gonna say maybe we could rewatch and then do something for that show, and like a podcast or whatever that so it isn't as overwhelming when we try to do like the season review. So we could it'll be like the season finale. So maybe we could figure out, maybe we could do a rewatch and block shoot it and have a good time like that and get it out there, because we really were supposed to be doing the episode every week.
Yeah. I mean, now y'all know we're gonna be definitely doing P-Valley when they come back every episode like we did before. That's a lesson.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to rewatch P-Valley because I don't even remember.
I
just remember.
How many seasons has it been off? It's been 2 years, right?
Yeah, 2-3 years.
Because we remember that now we have a whole thing with with old girl leaving the show.
Yeah.
So they had to recalibrate everything.
Her storyline was weak anyway.
but she was the main. She still was the main focus of your show at one point.
I guess, but I was just like, skip. I'd be fast forwarding her. I don't want to hear Yogi shit. Go back to Mercedes. What's Uncle Clifford talking about? That was me. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. So I don't even know when did they even start filming it yet?
They had, and then the strike happened, so that's how you also got that pushback.
I'm looking here now, and that's a wrap. Oh, they just wrapped up filming August 5th. They say on their Instagram.
Okay. All right, good.
So we talking about if it stopped on the 5th. Oh man, we talking about maybe what, May?
Yeah, potentially.
Summer release with it?
Potentially, depending on what else could potentially drop. so they could not have to deal with those ratings and trying to compete. Because TV it's just like how it is in the music industry.
Yeah, you don't want to drop at the wrong time.
Yeah, at the wrong quarter, depending on yeah.
I mean, I guess they could coordinate with 50 and see if he got any of them powers coming out.
Yeah, no, that's true. But if it come, what does Power come on? Don't they come on Star?
Both come on Star. That's what I said.
Yeah, then it would just be like, oh, this will come on after.
Oh, yeah.
So,
all right, everybody, let us know what y'all think with the season 2 of Reasonable Doubt. And we appreciate the bonus content. We'll be doing some of these from time to time, so you got to stay locked in to the YouTube page as well, and check us out, St. Angeles and SOLC Network. We'll see y'all. Peace.